2:06. Start the meeting. Hopefully you can see my screen. I think I've shared it. Can you guys see the agenda? Okay, good. Thank you. I can zoom in or out if it's not large enough to see, but here I go. Okay, the meeting's been called to order. Review the past meeting minutes, which I will put up right here. Can you see the screen now? Do I got to change it?
No, it's good.
Oh, good. Excellent. Okay, so here's the minutes. I did send them out. Any questions, any edits? Otherwise, motion to entertain a motion for approval?
Moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay. One thing I do want to mention just quickly, I highlighted some things on the minutes just to make sure the committee has the information that I sent along. Everybody saw the link on the OIG for the Inspector General's office on the procurement, just a guideline.
Yeah.
Everybody's okay there?
Yeah.
We'll talk about the references when the meeting gets underway here. A couple of thoughts on that. You probably saw an email or two in the last couple of days. And same with the questions on the references. And I guess that's it. I'll go back to the agenda. Okay. Just moving down the list. Item 3 on the agenda. Kind of general discussion. This isn't any order of these things we can talk about in order or out of order, 3A through F. With respect to everybody okay with the review of the submissions? They've got the packages. Everybody's been looking at them. Everybody's okay.
Yes.
Review progress of the RFQ evaluations, I guess same thing. How is everybody doing? Everybody doing okay so far? Maybe we'll talk about some dates in a couple of minutes here about wrapping up the RFQ and moving on to the RFP phase.
Have we definitely confirmed that we're able to get somebody from the town to review the financials, and then somebody lined up to review any concerns that we may come across in the legal section?
Yeah, we talked last week. Hi, Mike. You good?
How you doing?
Thanks.
Not bad.
You need to catch up with anything? You're okay.
We're good.
Okay. Yeah, I think Mary Lee, we did speak last meeting, having representatives from the town finance office. I do need to catch up with that individual from the town and share those documents. And Jim, maybe I can talk to you offline on who that person is, or just grab the email off the town website and send it to them, or should I make a phone call first?
I've already given the heads up.
Okay.
A couple members of the finance team that it's coming, and I downloaded all of the submissions, and I will just forward them the 8 financial components of their submissions over there. What I would like to, if I may, Mr. Chairman, just make a request of a deadline when we would like to see those back from them. That's the first thing. The second thing, happy to have town council be involved. And if whoever is selected as town council if they need to be involved in these meetings on a regular basis, or are they just, when there is an issue that comes up, then we can alert town council about the subject.
I think the latter, Jim. I think if the committee, as committee members looked at the proposals, I think if a red flag came up, we would then notify town council. If that's correct, I'll let the committee decide, but that was my recollection.
Yes, I agree with that, because I did not see anything major in the review that that would require town council review. Most of the documentation information has been provided by all the respondents, so I didn't see anything red flag as yet so far.
Okay. Jim, just to reconfirm, you're able to send those financials to town finance office on your own, or do you need me to assist at all?
I can do that. And I'll do this right after this meeting.
Okay, Great, thank you. Great.
And to Jim's point, as far as the timeline, what are we thinking for response? What's a reasonable timeline, Jim, for people working under you to get to this?
Well, I mean, considering we're in budget, but I would rather do it a quicker turnaround only because as we get deeper into the budget, the uglier it gets in terms of availability for time. So if I can, I will ask for a 7-day turnaround.
Okay, that sounds great. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think when the agenda goes further along, we'll see some dates here. We can go back and forth on when this committee is going to be done, when we think the finance office can be done, and then we can move on to the next phase 2. So I think these dates are relatively close, but we'll discuss them in a few minutes here.
Peter, can I make a to the chair? Quick question for you would be, when Jim sends out to the finance people, if you can send them the score sheet too, so they know what they're evaluating. This way they know how to evaluate each of them out of a score of 5, or Jim can add to their comment, if you can, please, that they should score everyone out of 5, and that's what we'll be looking for.
That's great.
On a scale 1 to 5.
Thank you. And I know we went through it last week, and through Mary Lee's suggestion, made adjustment on a couple scoring areas. Was one of those areas the financial?
Yeah, I think it was to take 5 points from that and put those 5 points towards the similar project experience category.
Okay. So okay, all right. Peter, is that possible to update that scoring sheet?
Yeah,
It was.
I did. Let me put it on the screen. You can't see my screen then now, can you? You see the score sheet, or you see the agenda?
The agenda.
Yeah, kind of weird the way this works. Oh, here it is. I'm used to team screen sharing. Sorry, can't.
Okay.
Can you see the screen now with this score sheet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So here was the score sheet that the committee members were going to be using as they reviewed the RFQ, and these numbers here in column C, they were updated.
Okay.
So down here, the financial statement, row 41, had 5 points.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
fine.
it was section E that went from 10 to 5, the
Yeah,
legal
exactly.
proceedings.
Exactly. Right. So yeah. So
we have access to the new sheet.
I'll send it back along. I could have sworn I sent it in an email earlier in the week, but it's okay. I can resend it.
Hey, Peter, you probably did. I'm showing right now that I really haven't looked at them yet. So, but once you give me that deadline, Mr. Chairman, I'm all over it.
Oh, Jim, understandable. We all get 500 emails a day with 900 attachments, so not an issue. I'll resend it. While I'm here with this screen shared, any questions on the score sheet before I go back to a different screen?
No, I'm
Okay.
already done.
Could
Very good.
Oh,
when I was looking at section C, the firm management personnel, I sort of wrote out some notes to myself in terms of what to be looking for if anybody else would find this information useful.
oh,
So I was looking at the number of years the people had with the firm, the number of similar projects that those leadership people had, if that team had actually worked together before on a similar project, and then the size of the project team. And that sort of helped me be consistent with the number of points I gave to each firm.
Okay, thank you.
The last point that you would take into consideration, please.
The size of the project team.
Thank you.
And I was looking more specifically towards the people who were not the estimators, but the rest of the team. So the ones that would really be in the trenches on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, they're important too.
True, but that was less of a differentiating factor among the CMs.
No offense, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. If you're good, I'll move on back to the agenda if there's any other questions or conversation on the score sheet.
No.
Okay. We can always come back if something hits. So I'm going to go back to the agenda. Is it there? I hope.
Yes.
It's weird. It doesn't indicate to me that the screen is being shared, so I apologize. Okay. You want to move on to the idea of the reference checks. You probably saw the list of questions that I sent out as a draft that we would send to the respective firms' references. And then there was the conversation at the last meeting that various committee members would take up various fields of categories, such as designer, Mary Lee in this case, checking the designers, Jim in this case, checking municipalities, and so on. I'm going to, and then you saw my email with a suggestion, certainly the committee's thought, wherein the questions are, I'll share my screen again. Let me go, where'd it go? Give me a second. I'm going to go back there. Here it is. I'm getting used to it now. So what we can do as the OPM's office on behalf of the pre-qualification committee, so we have these questions, as you probably saw that I sent out. It's these are the 8 firms that have submitted their RFQs that we are currently reviewing. And here's all the questions. There's 10 or 15 questions, staffing questions, communication questions, coordination questions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is a Google link that would be sent by email to each of the references that the CM firms have provided within the RFQ. It's all electronic. It goes out. They fill in their name. They fill in who they are. It comes back automatically. We get all the responses up here when the time comes. Obviously, nothing's been sent out. My suggestion is this is a very clean, efficient, genuine way to get an answer directly from the references. It's quick, it's swift, and it's electronic, and it frees up the committee members' time, which this can be consuming. Why don't you leave that to the OPM's office to do? The committee members can focus on the RFQ, which is more critical. So if that's agreeable, we can do it in that direction, free up the committee. But I'll let the committee discuss this among themselves.
I'm for it.
I think this is great. I have no objection. I think it is beneficial. However, I would like to still be able to have actual phone call conversations with some of the references so I could get some more of the qualitative information rather than just quantitative.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think this electronic version does not restrict anybody from making those phone calls, as Mary Lee just suggested. So if that's okay, the OPM will move forward with sending out these references electronically as noted, and committee members also have the same information. It's up to the committee if they want to pick up the phone and make phone calls on their own, if that makes sense.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. If has everybody reviewed the questions that are on this form and are good with them?
Yeah,
I have several comments.
Yeah, go ahead and send them back if you want, Mary Lee. I did send these questions out electronically in a spreadsheet. So if the committee, can we do this maybe? Today's Wednesday at 12 or 2:20. Do we want to say by close of business tomorrow, if there are any comments to the questions? we'll make the edits,
I can
and
do
then
that.
the OPM's office can send them out.
Yeah, any changes and or any additional questions that people might, I know Mary Lee has done this before. We've done it in the past, and we think most of the information is in here, but anything else that anybody sees that we should add, please do that before we send it out.
Okay, deadline tomorrow, 5 p.m. Okay, back to the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay. That's pretty much number 3, with except a letter F, which is the notification letters, which I think we'll talk about in a minute. And maybe we move on to section 4, which is the schedule. So, where did I put that? Was it here? Oh, excuse me. There it is. We had the committee we had talked about preparing all this. We're thinking next week we would be doing the RFP, but I think we're a little bit not, I'm gonna say delayed, still in the process. I wrote down some dates on my scratch pad here with a consideration. Today's the 29th. Now that the project has been essentially approved at town meeting, and there's a vote this coming Saturday to finalize the vote, or approve the project, I should say. I'm considering we should consider having a next meeting next Wednesday. Wednesdays seem to be an available timeline, and 2 o'clock seems to be the preferred time of day. So these are just my thoughts. This is the committee's discussion and decision. Do you think we can wrap up the RFQ phase by next Wednesday, November 5th at 2 p.m. during a meeting like this, 1 week from now? Wherein between now and then, or maybe even between now and next Tuesday, the 4th, which will give me the morning to consolidate all the scores, if the committee members could send them in by close of business Tuesday night or first thing Wednesday morning, the 5th, I will collect the numbers and I will prepare the consensus score sheet, and we can see where we stand, and we can make the decision to move into the next phase, which would be the RFP phase. And if we needed to, we could have another day, the following day if we needed to, but that would allow letters to be sent out by the end of the week, next week, which would be the November 7th. The letters would go out to the respective firms that says, thank you, you've been qualified, you've been authorized to move into the next phase, the RFP, and any letters that those who are not authorized or qualified to move in, they would get a thank you letter just the same. At that point, we would then issue the RFP to those selected firms, and that would probably start on the following Monday, November 10th. And then, of course, we would give the RFP process a couple of weeks, which then bleeds into the Thanksgiving week, which is a funny week for all of us and them. And maybe the RFPs are due Thursday, December 4th. Or if it's too tight, maybe it's the week of December 8th. And then we try to do interviews before the hot Christmas break, before the 19th of December. Just trying to wrap this whole process up before the end of December or before the Christmas week. So I'm thinking in my head, try to wrap all this up with those respective timelines no later than December 19th, which is a Friday. And then the following week is the Christmas week and New Year's week and so on. But open for discussion. Those are just my calendar thoughts.
Through the chair, the only thing, Peter, would be that, we need to bring it to the whole committee So we need to look at, be cognizant of the fact, when is the building committee meeting, which is the third Wednesday. So we need to work that out to make sure this is brought to the full building committee for approval.
I think in
Do you
terms,
need-
oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
I
Mary.
didn't know if you're going to address that. I was just going to say that I think that speaking for myself, reviewing all of the qualifications, I think is definitely doable by next Tuesday, but I am a little worried about the amount of time that we would be giving people to fill out the reference questionnaires and for us to call people. So if there's a way we could push that off a little bit and continue to do the reference checks during the early RFP process, but not let that hold us back from sending out invitations to submit proposals in the meantime, if that makes sense.
I understand the comment, and again, not for me to necessarily decide, but just for conversation for everyone. We have 8 firms that have submitted RFQs. When the RFP phase begins, that's where you draw the line to say who's moving into the next phase.
Right.
If the committee wants, they can invite all 8 to the RFP. Typically, that's not the standard. There's going to be a line in the sand that says there's going to be no less than 3, but no more than, say, 5 or 6, whatever the committee decides. And Mary Lee, I think that's where the line is drawn. If we need to wrap up the RFQ, including the references, and I agree, including the references, and I agree, by next Tuesday, will we have responses? You're right. I wasn't thinking of all that. That usually takes a week before people actually get to their emails and send it back, or we have to send a second reminder. So that's just that.
So the reference checks part of this is worth 5 points on our score sheet. So if we could maybe push that, the information that we gather from that, push that off into the RFP review process, and then just not include that one category in our evaluations of the qualifications.
I'm going to have to read up on the legitimacy of that, only because the RFQ did state 5 points as a scoring measure in the RFQ. If I think there's some legalities to it. If we don't include it, it'll be an opportunity for a protest, which I think we want to avoid.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that, Peter, because it's best to do complete it and have one final score for everyone, all of them. And I'm looking at the calendar. If we plan to meet on the 5th with at least have our scoring of the 90 points done, and if Jim can, get the financial part done by end of the week, those are the numbers that get added on to each of them. And the reference checks as they come in, they can be tallied very quickly. So maybe we can have a meeting the following on the 12th, and be prepared to have a final, set of recommendations for the full committee.
Okay, that works for me.
Do you know if the building committee is planning on meeting on November 19th?
I believe so, yes. Well, we can confirm that was, I think, 19th was the date, the next committee meeting.
Okay.
Because there was a question at one point, if I recall, somebody asked, what if something else happens at the town meeting? And Chuck had responded that we will be ready to respond to the MSPA. So, we don't need a special meeting for that. But if we need one, we can have one. So I think, it'll be outcome of what happens this Saturday.
Right. Right. And just to stay on their normal schedule, because it seemed to work with all of the other boards and committees that the third Wednesday was better for everybody. So.
Is the full committee expecting approval? let me say that differently. I'm sorry. Is it necessary for the pre-qualification committee to get the full building committee's approval to select the firms to go into the RFP, or has the full committee given full authorization to the pre-qualification committee to perform the full process? Do we really need to go to the full committee for approval, or is that a courtesy? Don't care, just curious.
I think the last conversation that I remember was a recommendation for the short list was going to go to the PBC, because then some of the people at the PBC might be involved in the interviews. So I think now, is that formally required? That I don't know. It might be more like a courtesy, as you said, but I think the conversation was they wanted to, this subcommittee is going to recommend to them based on the RFQ process and the RFP process, 3 firms, 5 firms, whatever they decide to do for the short list, that needs to be communicated with the permanent building committee or the school building committee.
And I think through the chair, I do agree with you, Mark, because out of these 5 members, 2 members are not voting members of the full committee. So it's only 3 of them. So they do need to bring it back to the full committee, so the full committee can, the Shaker Lane School Building Committee can vote on the RFP.
Correct.
Well, go ahead, somebody.
No, I was just saying, so I don't know what'll be ready by the 19th. I don't know if we'll have that based on the schedule you just talked about. Is there going to be information or shortlisted, prepared for RFPs on the 19th? That seems, it's 4 weeks almost, really 3.5 weeks. That's a lot with the reference checks and all those other things that need to happen. So maybe not. Maybe it's the meeting in December's meeting, so that all gets wrapped up. So.
Well, I look at this way. Every time I get a reference check, usually I respond back within 2 to 3 days. Sometimes if I have the time right away, because those checks are, the electronic answers are very quick. You might have to add a sentence here or there, but it's not too many information to be added on. And the question is pretty much clear. Either you're giving them yes or no, or giving them points on a scale of 1 to 5, and the tally gets done automatically by the Google worksheet. So that makes a big difference in the outcome. I think if we decide to go to the 12th, have a meeting on the 5th, and then the 12th we finalize everything, and the 19th is the building committee, that should be more than enough ample time between now and then.
Are you suggesting, Suresh, we don't start the RFP until after the committee says yes on the 19th?
Yes.
With that said, just looking at the calendar from my seat, the 19th is a Wednesday. We're going to send the RFP out the following day, the 20th, let's just say. The whole next week is the Thanksgiving week.
Correct.
That's a funny week for many people.
Yes.
And how many weeks are we going to give the RFP? No less than 2.
No less than 2.
It's 3 is good, because you want these firms to put together the right proposal, give them adequate time and prepare for the RFP and to prepare for the interview, with the thought, again, committee's decision, all those firms that do or are invited to the RFP shall be, or typically are, interviewed.
Right.
So we're talking 3 weeks in December then, really.
Yep.
We're talking December 1st through December 19th to try to shoehorn this in. Bad word, I shouldn't say shoehorn, but you know what I mean.
So
maybe that's okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, maybe that's okay. I'm just thinking again, committee's decision. I think the goal is to try to wrap this up by December 19th, on or before. Unless there's a thought to go into the first week or second week in January. Again, thinking proper time, proper notification, and all that's good. Just curious what the committee is thinking, and we can put calendars together and I don't mean to keep talking here, but if the reference checks are deciding this calendar dates, if nobody has any questions on the references, the OPM, I and Mark can talk with Mary Lee on her question edits, and we'll get it out tomorrow. And maybe we have a meeting next Thursday. That gives everybody 1 week for the reference calls to come back in. And then we save a week or two. And if we don't really need the full building committee's approval to go into the RFP stage, we do start it on November 10th or November 17th, as opposed to November 24th. Again, just playing the calendar. That's all I'm doing.
So maybe we have a conversation with Steve Moore to see how he wants to, as the chair, make the decision, whether he would like to have the full committee vote for it, or would he rather try to combine the permanent building committee meeting, which is second Wednesday, and follow up with this committee's meeting, a quick meeting to say yay or nay, and if you can combine the two of them, it's up to him. He usually does not like to do it, but I don't know what's on the agenda for the PVC at this point, how busy that agenda is. And Mike, you can maybe answer that.
Yeah, I don't, I'm not sure how busy. I don't think it's that busy.
No, it's not.
Because that will save us a whole
hour,
week.
so.
That will save us a whole week. We can go December 12th or December 10th for the PVC meeting. November 12th for the PVC meeting. And that would save a whole week there.
Again, there's always conflicts with the quorum because they have other committee meetings and commitments other than the third Wednesday. So we can certainly have that conversation.
Yep.
I'm gonna just throw a little bit of a devil's advocate out there. I think the timing for RFPs proposals back from the shortlisted firms should be only 2 weeks. I think these firms do this all the time. They are very experienced and knowledgeable in doing this work. And I think 2 weeks is more than enough time, especially since we're in a funny time of year with holidays. I would give them 2 weeks. The reference checks, I understand the process with that. I've done it many times where people respond right away and you chase people for days and weeks and you don't get any answers. So the reference checks are important because that's going to be part of the requirement for the RFQ. Get that done as quickly as we can. Once we're satisfied with that, I would give them 2 weeks to get the proposals in.
Well, if I can throw another add to that, Mark, we can do is, if it's okay with the committee, put it up like not an addendum, but a response to all the respondents through the Project Dog website, saying that we will be requesting in 2 weeks. We'll be giving them 2 weeks to be prepared. Let them know ahead of the time what the dates are. If we are doing on the 19th, latest by 19th, and then 2 weeks after that, we'll be requesting. We're looking forward to their responses, so they can start preparing themselves if they need to, whatever the dates are.
No, absolutely, yeah. And then that kind of goes along with if there's a meeting on December 17th, if they want to have another committee meeting, if things come back in like the week of the 8th, as 2 weeks after getting notices out for the RFPs, then we got to schedule interview times and everything like that with people too. But again, if it's 3 firms, the interview can be one afternoon, evening. If it's 5 firms, it can maybe be 2. But those go all pretty quickly, and then the reviews of those go all pretty quickly after each meeting as they're being scored, I guess, or tallied as the interviews go through. So, I've been through it a lot. So, I think it can be efficient. I totally want to give people enough time. And again, it's a weird time of year with the holidays, but we also want to keep on our schedule. We want to make sure that we stay on top of the things that we've already put out there. And I think we're looking at going towards the end of the month anyways in December. So, outside of, and I agree with Mary Lee, outside of the craziness of reference checks, if we can get those things buttoned up, I think let the rest of the process be as efficient as it can.
Yeah, we're talking about 5 points too. It's not like the references are 25 points. So
Right.
it may make a difference for, say, we cut off at 4 or 5, it could make the difference between who gets in and who's last out. But,
Right. Right. And the due diligence needs to be done. I mean, I've had instances where you get references from places and the people sadly are no longer with us, or they retired and moved to Florida and you can't get them, or they just never respond. So, you do what you need to do to get what you can get, but you've got to prove that you've made that effort for the references that you were supplied, to get whatever you can for ranking them.
yep.
Well, Mark, I hear you on squeezing the 2 weeks. It's not my, I'm just going to throw this thought out there. You're going to want to throw in a site visit. These firms are going to want to see what the site is.
Sure.
So their proposal, their RFP proposal is complete on how they are analyzing and preparing for the project to tell the committee how they can solve the puzzle. So
Absolutely.
you got to do that. And I find it's a very important decision. The construction manager at risk is a key member to the project team and the success. So in the big picture, another week called the third week, I think is beneficial. My 2 cents.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't want to move into early January and beyond to start interviewing and stuff. If we can get this to work as efficient as possible and get the references in, and if the RFQ process gets done, within the time frame, and then we can just start pushing the RFP process. If we have to squeeze another weekend or 3 days or something into another week and set up a site visit, as part of all that. Yeah, it would be great if we can get it all done by the end of the year. So
maybe we move back to where we started this conversation. We talked about completing the RFQ by next Wednesday at 2 p.m. during a meeting. If we gave ourselves an extra day and we send the references out tomorrow, we finalize the edits with Mary Lee. We get the Google sheet sent out by email later today, tonight, tomorrow morning, and we meet next Thursday. Is that an acceptable time? That give us a week for the references, and we'll see where we land, as opposed to Wednesday. So we're talking next Thursday, November 6th at 2 p.m. to hopefully wrap up the RFQ phase.
Mm-hmm.
now the electronic responses are coming to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have a sense of who's been responding or not.
Oh yeah. I'm going to share them all. It'll be shared.
No. Just saying, if we get, by luck, that wow, everybody's responded pretty quickly, then we can maybe meet earlier or whatever. I mean, I know references are tough. Their reference checks are tough. They can go quick, they can go long. So whatever time we feel we need to give that, if it's a solid week or more, whatever the decision is, by next Wednesday, by next Thursday, end of next week, whatever, we need to have them before we start moving on to evaluating for our RFPs and then letters out for that and shortlisting, etc. So.
Okay. Well, Mr. Chairman, maybe have a discussion or decision the next meeting. It would be it Wednesday next week or Thursday, or anything else.
Is everyone good with Thursday, or where do we kind of land?
Yeah, personally, I could send you the score sheet today minus the references.
Okay, please do.
The references are really just going to determine who's fourth or fifth.
Yeah.
At this point.
I just sent you my suggestions, and then either next Wednesday or Thursday, I could make both work.
Yeah. Same for me. Both days work for me.
Fine by me.
All right. What is the preference among everyone? Would rather Wednesday or Thursday?
Let's do Thursday if we can get some of the financials done too by that time, Jim. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. So, thank you. Thursday, 11/6, 2 p.m. Next meeting. And certainly as Mike just suggested, he's pretty much wrapped up his portion. Send your score sheets along. I'll put them all to the consensus sheet as they come in, which will help. And I'll work with Jim as well on anything with the finance office. So hopefully by next Wednesday, they can have their numbers wrapped up as well. I'll get them from Jim, and we can add those to the sheet as well.
Okay, so you want me to send what I have or wait till we get the references?
Jim's, Mike, send what you have. I'll get the references and add them because I'm going to see the Google sheet. If I have questions from anything, I can reach out to the committee. But yeah, if you want to trickle feed or feed me as you've done, that'll help me, per diem, fill them in rather than having a big massive load
at the end.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. Okay. Well, okay. What else on the agenda? So we talked about schedule quite a bit there, and we'll put together the next phase as well. We'll begin the RFP. I'll put the RFP, a draft together. Mark and I and Mary Lee will put a draft and get it out to the committee for review and comment. So when the RFP stage begins, it's ready to go and it's out the door. So we can start working on that now. That's not contingent on anything. Okay. Besides that, anything else from anybody on number 3 on the agenda or number 4?
Can I just clarify one thing? Obviously, I'll read the financials and whatnot, but we're basically holding off on town staff to make that determination, right? So are we evaluating that or not evaluating that, as well as the legal? I guess we said we'd only call things out for legal if there's really an issue, right? But so I guess I'm focused on the financials.
Not for me to say, but my view, Mr. Chairman, is the committee members can certainly look at the financials while the town's finance office has better knowledge of how to read a financial schedule, if I could say it that way. We're using them as a sounding board to raise anything that we may miss. Well, not we, the committee may miss as members. That's kind of how I viewed it.
Okay, so complete in full, then we'll use them as reference. Great, thank you.
Sure. I'll move down the agenda. We can come back if something comes up. Any other business that's not so noted that hasn't been identified?
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
Out of curiosity, do we need to wait to notify the MSBA about the results until after both votes are in, or have they already been notified about last night's vote?
I don't think we have notified them. Chuck hasn't sent anything out, but unless it's a negative one, till we get the Saturday vote, that's the key one. So let's wait till the Saturday and then we can send that out on early next week to them.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. Next item 6. We discussed the next meeting, which is Thursday next week, November 6th, 2 p.m. Number 7, public comments. If there's anybody from the public on the call that has any comments.
The only person who's not a panelist is Christine from Consigli, and she did not want to be promoted into the meeting. So,
okay. And if there's nothing else, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Mary Lee and Peter, can you guys hang back just for a second?
The Littleton hosted
no, Mark,
meeting?
We can't because this is a town meeting.
It's recorded. Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I can send out a Zoom link.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.